You know, I got up this morning and I said, I should let my beard grow in and I'll look like Tom Hanks from Castaway. I just can't do it. I couldn't do it, so I shaved. Yes, obviously I didn't want to make it super public because it's not a big deal, but I was and have been and will continue to quarantine until next week. It shouldn't affect our training day any. Not the end of the world. It kind of sucked for me, but it gave me time to get a number of things done. Some things that maybe were overlooked. Bookwork over the last couple of months. I got to talk to an accountant a little closer about what's going on. I got to really start to put things in place that are supposed to be put in place that maybe wouldn't have been had I been out and about. So in that regard, I guess that's as I like to say all the time, making lemonade out of lemons. But I'm making do here in purgatory. So yes, I am in quarantine. I am sitting in my driveway in my car. If I'm understanding, I am distancing myself from everybody, but at the same time, this is my car and only my car. It is in my driveway on my property. I don't leave. I don't go anywhere. I've been, for those of you, I had somebody say the other day, message me and said, well, if you have to go down to the barn, are they really going to check? I don't know. It's been 8 days. It's been 8 days, and they've been here 3 times to check on me. Now they got smarter, right? So I was thinking to myself, if they had a bunch of people come in, if they make a bunch of people quarantine, you can't possibly ask the police to come and check on everybody, because that's what did happen the first time. But then they got a little wiser. I think that now that they have a bigger influx of people, they've asked people. They put these security vests on and introduce themselves as being from public health department, and they check on you and ask how things are going, which is nice. They're nice people, but not police officers, which I knew that couldn't keep up for long. But they've been here 3 times to check on me, which is good. I'm fine, but at the same time, not going as stir crazy as I thought I might, because I think there was a lot of things that I hadn't got done that I needed to get done. So that's getting looked at. I got to go over the files of a lot of our clients, and a lot of our clients that are breeders that have horses with us. Maybe they weren't getting enough shares moved that they wanted to in some horses that I thought were pretty nice horses. So I reached out and tried to facilitate that. Got that done. We got the Amor Diener file cleaned up accordingly. And then Mischievous Rose, we'd moved some shares of Mischievous Rose. Now, I'd reached out to a couple of people and said, listen, there are some shares available of this filly. I think she's a rather nice filly, and I don't think they're going to be available long, because the one thing you have to remember about a horse like her, she literally was a month behind everybody. But as you go through that time period, right around now, where everything's a little monotonous, where they're training the same, or in a lot of cases they're not training right now, that gives a horse like Mischievous Rose a chance to catch up to everybody, and she did that in a big way this week. I was talking to James and Johnny about her, James in particular about Mischievous Rose, and she has looked really good. Johnny generally goes with her for the most part. I'm going to go with her next Saturday because I've heard good things, and I'm starting to see she'd rolled off a couple of times in her previous video. She didn't do her work well, but now she's starting to put it all together, and I want to see how well. I suspect she's going to look rather well next Saturday, but we'll see. So as I said, reached out to a number of clients, reached out to either on the side of potentially buying shares or the side of potentially selling. So got a lot of work done that I just don't have time to, and I'm going to be able to get a little more done even after the quarantine, because I'm not going back and forth to the States. I can't do that now. The reason being, I can't. This 14-day window wasn't a big deal. If you remember, we had a lot of horses jogging. It poured rain today on Saturday. The track wasn't fit yesterday, barely fit on Wednesday. It's going to be a little warmer, colder. I think next Friday we might, and that is my first day out of lockdown, next Friday might be able to get some work done. Next Saturday, now again, the forecast is changing every day, but looks like rain is coming again. So all of this going on really didn't cost, it wasn't the end of the world, me not being there. But at the same time, I can't risk that, right? I can't go over to Ohio in 2 weeks and then come back and miss 2 more weeks here in Ontario. I just can't do that. So the only way I cross the border is if things have gone catastrophically wrong in the States, which I don't think they will. Jason's got a pretty good handle on his horses. You know, we've moved some horses around back here from Tim. We'll be sending some over. They'll be ready to go when they go over there. So I think everything is pointing towards a realistically decent spring. I think if you're asking me in March, you're putting me on the spot, last day of February, first day of March. Hey, Anthony, what's the rest of the spring and summer going to look like for you? I think we're going to ride it out here, make sure everything's done good here. And then first week of June, qualify all the Ohio horses, potentially Pennsylvania horses if they look like they need to be ready. Start shipping them out and leave with them. Now, my kids aren't out of school till the end of June. What are we going to do about vaccinations? What's that even mean now? Does that mean you get to cross the border? Who knows? No one's going to know. I know here in Ontario they've been struggling to get people vaccinated, and I know they've stumbled and tripped and fell as far as rolling out the vaccines, and it's really set things back here in Ontario. When I talked to our clients in Ohio and Pennsylvania, the thing that I found odd was they believe they'll have everybody vaccinated in Ohio by June, of all ages that need to, except I believe 18 and over. I don't believe there's been enough testing on the younger ones, but 18 and over, and they believe they'll have everybody done by June. Well, what's that mean for me? Can I go over and get vaccinated in your country? And from what I'm being told from both our clients in Ohio and then a doctor I spoke to in Pennsylvania when I got my test last week, he said all they need is an email address and a valid ID from really anywhere so they can get in touch with you. They just want to be able to get in touch with you. And I guess that's smart. If you're in their country, the vaccine doesn't cost anything. The country's footing the bill, which is odd because they don't usually, but both Canada and the U.S. And if I'm in their country, it's, I guess, in their best interest and mine to be vaccinated while I'm there. So I'm hoping that's what will happen if we can find a way to get back to some form of border normality heading into the summer of 2021. That's a great start. I know they're talking about opening up things in a much bigger way over the next month in Ohio as far as sporting events and outdoor events. So we may not see that here in Ontario yet, but I see it in a place that we're going to spend a lot of time in this summer. So there's no point spending a lot of time. I already spent 7 minutes talking about this, but no real point talking about this in any way because we don't know, right? We don't know for sure about anything. The vaccine rollout is working well in Ohio and Pennsylvania so far, I'm told. They've had their struggles too in every state, but here in Ontario, I know I'd reported to you before earlier on in the year that they said by June, by summer, everyone that would want a vaccine in Ontario will get one. Now they had those serious disruptions in between, but now the vaccine from England with Oxford University as whatever the hell its name, it's here in Ontario, but if I read well this morning, the bulk of those doses don't get here till July. So and now Johnson & Johnson is very, very close to being greenlit for the FDA and the Canadian Health Agency also. So that has to play a role. I don't know what role it'll play. I have no idea, and really, to be truthful, I don't think any of us do. So why am I even talking about it? So, a couple of really cool things. We talked about lockdown, not the end of the world. I'll be out next week for the drone, whatever day we do it. Looking at the weather today, if you had a gun to my head and said, which day are we droning? I would say Friday, not Saturday. Just looking at the weather, but we'll see. The babies, the staking, we snuck through in March. Now, I did notice that a couple of Americans that had bought shares in Amor Diner had sent me money, and I received them within 10 days. Whereas other people's were still slow. So the mail service is getting better in some places. FedEx, our check from the Ohio sale, FedEx lost it. When the hell did FedEx ever lose anything ever? And maybe you're out there and you use FedEx a lot and you're like, oh, I have some horror stories. I have never in my life heard of them losing anything. They lost the check from Ohio. I went out of my way to ask the sales company to FedEx the money in case we needed it, and they lost it. It's still somewhere in Memphis. And I don't know when Memphis was on the way from Ohio to Guelph, Ontario anyway, but regardless, it went to a sorting station, there was bad weather, and it's nowhere to be found. So that has to be resent. But for the most part, we've been getting our mail better over the last week. Obviously, March is going to be an enormous payment in consideration of what we do every day. I know it's going to be well over, probably in total, probably over 140, 150,000 USD. I only say that because the biggest payment is due in USD, so why not just convert it? Our system converts it to Canadian, but it will be a little bit south of $200,000 this month for all of our 47 horses. So now, truthfully speaking, I don't know if this excites you or not. It certainly excites me. We have paid a pacing colt, a trotting colt, and a trotting filly into the next generation. That's $30,000 US right there, right? Eyes of 10, Voyage of Ice and Fire, and Luck of the Dragon are all paid in to the next generation series. Now, if you guys are having trouble getting on and looking at the staking application through Joanne Staking, we can help you out with that. Maybe Kelly can post the link for Joanne Staking. If you go on to Joanne Staking and go to, I think, owner update, we have a passcode for you. I'm sure Kelly can send it out, or Wendy. They may have already sent it out. So you'll be able to look at all the staking. I know it was neat this year. We could do it online. So before Joanne Staking, Jim and Chris would literally call me on the phone and we would go through every horse by horse. Now I did the staking, and it was good because it gave me 5 full days to do the staking, then think about it, go back in, make some revisions, go back in, make some revisions. Obviously, we're always trying to be frugal. You don't have to point out to me, and I don't have to point out to you that we don't make a lot of money in the Grand Circuit, or we never have. A little bit, very minimal, and nowhere even close to what we pay to get into those races. But if we're going to strive to race better horses, buy better horses, and have more luck, you're going to have to be in those races. And I think there were some horses I'd staked a little heavier, and I went back in over that 5-day period and took them back out. So do yourself a favor. You're my partners on all these horses. Go in, take a look at the staking on your horses, drop me a line. Anthony, I think that's sufficient, or it's insufficient, or you're a little aggressive with this horse, and we can go back and forth. Ultimately, it'll be my decision, but that decision is always formed from dialogue, constructive dialogue with you, my partners. So that's the babies and the staking. I will have a portion of the video today talking about the horses, but I tried to talk Amy into doing it. She's like, I can't do a video like that. At the end of the day, I didn't see anybody this week, so I'm literally relying on James, Johnny, Amy, and anybody else I could talk to about them. Wasn't a lot of work done today either. Wednesday it poured rain, so they only got some trained. Thursday, you couldn't go Thursday back Friday or Saturday, so they were hoping for a Friday or Saturday. Friday it was wet and they had to qualify. Saturday it poured rain. So really no training of any consequence done this week. I'm not really concerned about that. This was our time when we know this time comes every year when it thaws. Worst thing that could happen now is it go back to -10, -9 for another spell. That would be a real problem. Now that we're starting to get that frost out of the track, keeping it out would be great. All the shoeing coming up from this point on will be without any winter corks on. So that's what I was trying to get to anyway. Now, this week with the racing, we had some good, a couple of bad. Cut the Line was terrible. I think she had tied up. I didn't get the blood back yet, but this is a filly, you know, I really should have pushed to sell her last year. We were really concerned. Is she good enough? Our time with her, if she was at 100% healthy, ready to go, would have been late December, January, February. We're now into March. She's got one abysmal chart line. I think we'll probably, unless her blood says we can't, it would make much more sense to qualify her on Thursday, maybe the following Monday, and look to sell her, because she's not a filly we want to pay the $800 starting for OSS fee on. But if we're going to keep her, she should have an OSS eligibility. You'll never sell her otherwise. So might make more sense to try and get a good line on her and move her. But that's something we'll talk about with my partners in that group leading into this week. Frilly Fringes ended up blowing a big pus pocket out of her foot. Now, did that play a role in a race the other day? I can't say that. I can't say that. I know she doesn't like to be on the front end. She certainly doesn't like to be first over, and we ended up first over, clearing the front and getting to the front end, where she gave it up quite handily down the lane. Not the trip for her, I don't think. Now, I know that Tim had said, Dave said, with the earplugs in for the first time, she was really dead. I don't want to, you know, I'm not going to put my hindsight glasses on. I like the ones I have on. It's racing. It happened. Clean up the quarter crack. Don't put her on the front end. Don't try to be first over. Not only do we have a series starting next week, which is problematic with a quarter crack, but we have a long season for this filly. I don't want her used up, so let's not do that. Won my Heart Hanover, off 3 weeks, closing hard in the end of the mile. Thought she looked a little pacey at the earlier portions of the mile, especially when he went to move her, but she did come on down the lane. I thought she could have been third, but off 3 weeks. Can't really blame her for that. What else do we have? Donadover was great last night. Kevin and him ready to go. There's a horse, Bad Luck, for the Mickey Race Stables, the gentleman that owns Mickey Race Stables. I mean, we raced him one time before the lockdown and he won. Then because of the length of the lockdown, we descended him back to Pennsylvania, where he immediately made 2 breaks, qualified, and was sent back here to race. It's just a way. We're not the only people that have bad luck and make bad decisions sometimes. So, you know, the best laid plans fall apart sometimes. And definitely with Donadover, it wasn't best case scenario. Raced well last night, just missed at the wire, but raced really, really well. Tanzanite Tricks, who won her first start, made a break. Now, the track was terrible. You could see they went 210 or something, and the track was really bad. She has flip-flops on. James said she got really pacey behind the gate. Okay, so she made a break, and then down the lane, you could see she hooked wheels with the guy, and James said, oh, I come in, and he come out, whatever. I mean, it looked to me like maybe the guy in the middle was playing a little defense. I've been known to do that from time to time, too, so I can't be too, be a hypocrite if I get too far down that road. But it definitely looked like there was one more that went in or out. But Tanzanite Tricks, you know, she raced good her first start. She's tight now. We put her in to go at Mohawk on Monday. I was a little leery. Wasn't our plan. I was looking to go back to London with her. But Woodbine called looking for a maiden trotter. Said that she fit really well. And by the looks of the horses she's racing against, she does fit rather well in that class. So, had the Vec Wover. Nothing really found that much. She got Boggy Hawks, but I don't want to go poking around in there. Because of her feet and the flip-flops, we'd blocked her feet, I think, for this week, and ran some more fluids into her. So, optimistic. Mario's going to get his shot with her on Monday. I think he's a good fit for her also. We'll see how she races on Monday evening. What else? What else? Jason McGinnis is heading back to Ohio on Monday. His first starts will be Tuesday. Now, we have our employees have Fox Valley Britska and Off-Road Hanover over there already. I've spoke to the veterinarian about Off-Road Hanover. He made a few little tweaks with him. Fox Valley Britska is good and ready to go, so we're going to get them raced on Tuesday evening. So I'm excited to see that. Excited to get Jason back over there. A little depressed and depleted, a little upset that I won't be able to partake in the U.S. festivities unless I have to. And really, at that point, it's a lose-lose, right? I'm going to lose out here for 14 days. And I'd have to be going out there because we were over there because we were already losing out. So hopefully I don't see Jason and Kirby till June. But it is what it is. I'm hoping for a good start back to the spring for the rest of Tim's horses and the ones that we send over there. I'm hoping that Jason can pick things up early in Ohio and get moving. That would be fantastic. So that was pretty much it for the racing this week. We got a couple of horses in tonight at Flamborough. Barbie's Crown, Timo Houdini, Blue Monk's in tomorrow. Don't Believe Me, Just Watch is in tomorrow. Harry's horses will be ready to go, I think, for schooling or qualifying next week. Johnny's horses, the ones that he has getting close to the races, are getting very close. So things are almost back to normal. Almost back to normal. I can tell you, back to normal or not, I'm looking forward to it. Now, big news also, 1, 2, 3 bust. This is all Kelly. She came up with this quite a while ago by the sounds of things, but she integrated it into the stable and our clients, and to the point that the Meadowlands actually funded it. So I think before it was $25, now it's going up to $50, and the Meadowlands is actually funding that. Jeff Gorell and Jason Settlemore and Rachel, they had said that, I was quite upfront with them. I said, hey, we get over 200 people a week to play this. A lot of these people don't usually watch or play the Meadowlands, and now they are. It's not really a big deal for you, but it's a good way to keep our clients engaged. So if you want to partake in a little partnership, we'd be happy to. By a partnership, I mean you pay all the money, and we'll organize it. So that's what took place this week. So as things start to creep back up into normality, the babies seem to be going really well. We'll get a better look at them next week. The horses are starting to race and round into shape for the most part. We still got some horses that we need to shed, but that's okay. That's the same in any stable this time of year. The staking is starting to look good. We're starting to get a real good, clear picture at the path we're looking at for these horses. And most importantly, keep your eye on the summer. That's all I can do as I sit out here and look at this front yard. As I look at that, yeah, how's that look? As I look at that snow trying its hardest to melt, all I can think of is getting back to the stakes, getting back to the races, getting back to the fairs, getting back to normal. So just take a minute to think about that, how things were before. You know, all the festivities that we missed out on last year, all the fairs and stake races and weekends that we didn't get to spend together in person. It's all coming back around, and hopefully we can get back to some form of normality very, very soon. As I just said to one of our clients on the phone, 90 days till qualifiers. 90 days till our Ohio and Pennsylvania breds, especially, and New Jersey breds, especially, start qualifying. 90 days, ladies and gentlemen. Take care.